No son wants to work with me, but I'm going to get it done anyway. That's just going to be that. Welcome, ladies of the Sash Tribe, to this week's MIT training video. We're actually going to talk today about one of the biggest hidden issues in Christian dating, which is actually fear. There's fear of being alone. There's fear of wasting time, fear of no good men being left, fear that you'll have to settle, fear that you're going to have to go back to the no good ex from last year. There are so many fears that are present, and what I do know is that these fears, oftentimes they drive women into bad relationships, bad cycles, and sometimes even bad marriages. What we're going to talk about today is going to be dating with fear versus dating with faith, how to break the cycle before marriage. And by the end of this training video, you are going to know how to recognize fear-based dating, what faith-based dating, faith-led dating, looks like, and also how to break the cycle even before marriage. I want to start by talking the cost of dating with fear because yes, there are certain costs that are associated with dating with fear. And when I say fear-based dating, first and foremost, I am talking about when people engage in rushing, settling, people pleasing, ignoring red flags. All of those show that you are doing fear-based dating. And there are so many different common fears that end up coming into play, which a lot of times are whether it's fear of singleness, which means that you will rush into relationships. You are rushing to form a connection, which of course with that means that you will overlook red flags and many different things like that. Fear of rejection is another common fear, means that you will lower your standards. You will engage in the people pleasing, right? Because you don't want to be rejected. You don't want to speak up. You don't want to actually say what's on your mind, open your mouth, all of those different things. Because you don't want to be rejected or abandoned, you will lower your standards and you will actually present a diminished version of yourself. Another common fear is that time is running out. And when you have that fear of time running out, you will ignore readiness, whether it's readiness within yourself that might not even be there, or you will even ignore the readiness that a man is not even showing signs of because you just feel like, hey, time is running out. I don't really feel ready. He doesn't really seem ready, but I'm going to do it anyway, and we'll figure out together later on. I get that in long-term relationships. I know that within marriages, there are going to be seasons where you are going to be growing and evolving and learning different things about that person, and they're going to be learning different things about you. So you're never going to entirely have everything figured out, especially before the vows, right? I get all of that. But too many people are, again, overlooking a lot of the major signs that a person lacks readiness and telling themselves, oh, we have the rest of our years to figure it out and he'll get better with this. And I know this is something I need to work on eventually. I'll get better with this. No, when that fear of time running out is present, it is going to cost you a lot. And I don't want you making those mistakes. Too many people are entering marriages from wounds instead of wisdom. They have all of these unresolved things that they have not really sat down and taken the time to work through, and they're rushing into marriage, completely bypassing using any wisdom, which if they had, they would have never even married the person that they actually got married to. And for some people, whether it's they can speak from experience and they're no longer in that marriage, but even now, today, there are too many people that can admit they rushed into marriage. They rushed into marriage because they were lonely, because they were insecure, because they were frustrated, because they felt like they had a point to prove, whatever the case might be. There's too much dating with fear that is taking place today. I'm seeing it way too much in the Christian circle. People who feel as if, they're going to be validated, right? And the shame is going to be gone and all of these different things. They're rushing to get married because that's what you're supposed to do as a Christian. You're supposed to date with the intent of getting married. And that way you can, of course, show everybody what God did for you. And you can finally engage in, sex and all of these different things. People are rushing and it is not going very well. This is something that I even did a video on this earlier this week, if I'm not mistaken. But I spoke about it in depth on the latest podcast episode. Check that out if you have not already. You've got to make sure that you are free from fear completely in this season. If you're not, you need to be working towards it. First of all, you need to find out why it's present, what the fear is, what's at the root of it, identify where it came from, and make sure that you are doing everything in your power to eradicate that fear that is present, because it will lead you into a world of sabotage, and you can find yourself rushing into a marriage that you were never supposed to be in, all because of fear. 2 Timothy 1:7 says he has not given us a spirit of fear. And there are too many people who are walking around with the spirit of fear, right? And I talk about spirits a lot, like in New Heart Academy, every single course talks about spirit in some way, like how our humanity is affected by the different spirits that we are carrying with us in some way, and how those things are working against you when it actually comes to your dating life and your love life. But God has not given us a spirit of fear. So when it's there, you need to get to the root of, again, what that fear is and exactly why it is present. God has given us the spirit of power, of love, and of sound mind. And it's time for you to remember that and recognize it and operate from a place of those three things. Getting out of the whole fear-based dating, what does dating with faith actually look like? Because see, faith-based dating, it is intentional, it is vision-led, and it's waiting with wisdom. It's walking with wisdom and using wisdom. It anchors in trust that God's timing is good, that his timing is perfect, right? I love Isaiah 60:22 when it says, at the right time, I, the Lord, will make it happen. And I use that a lot when talking to single Christian women, and even when talking to a lot of you all, because I know that there are these rushes of, I gotta hurry up, or time is winding out and I want to be able to settle down and get married, I want to start a family and all of these things. But it says that he will make nations, right? He will make nations out of your family. He says at the right time, I, the Lord, will make it happen. And maybe your time has not come yet because you have not reached the level of readiness that you think. Singleness is not about punishment. I cannot stress that enough. It is not about punishment. It is about preparation. And even though you might feel as if you are ready for something, maybe you're really not. Maybe you're not prepared in the manner in which you think, especially when it comes to a kingdom marriage and relationship. So ensure that you get to a place where you are engaging in faith-based dating. This is where you have clarity on your identity. You know who you are as a woman, right? You have the self-awareness as to what makes you you now. And there's also that self-concept as far as the woman that you're becoming and who you are at your core and who it is that you want to be. You have clarity when it comes to your worth and your value. You know what it is you deserve. You know that God, your Father in heaven, like does not want you dating a certain way or accepting certain things. Faith-based dating means that you use discernment over infatuation. You are not easily swayed. It means that you are going to be wise. You are not going to fall in love and, do the most and get too far with someone that you were never supposed to be connected with. I always find it interesting. Let's just use that word. When I hear people say, oh, you can't help who you love. You can't help who you fall in love with. Live from the pits of hell. Coach V said it. You can absolutely help who you fall in love with, because at the end of the day, you are in control of who you give access to. This is why we are told to guard our hearts, right? Loving someone is one thing. We are commanded to do that as believers. We are to pretty much love everyone, right? Like that is just what we are to do. Like we are to love, right? Falling in love is something completely different. Falling in love means that you actually spend enough time with this person to allow the hormones to start producing and going crazy, and you're accepting of the things that they're telling you and whatever else. Wisdom prevents all of that. Discernment prevents all of that. When you are clear on who you are, when you spend time with God to ensure you have that discernment, maybe you're at a point where you're saying, I don't really trust myself too much, so let me make sure I walk intently with God in this matter. That is a matter of using discernment. So when all of those things are present, You are able to go into a situation wisely, and before being led with emotion, you can instead be led with logic, where you're saying, hey, let me really get to see who this person is. I know who I am. Let me see who this man is. Let me make sure that I'm praying over him. Let me see the fruit that he is producing. Let me see if me and this man are even aligned before I even decide if I'm going to continue to date him, to see if he could actually be my person. You don't have to worry about the infatuation and the in love, and therefore you are able to control who you fall in love with. It always grinds my gears even when I hear people saying, oh, just follow your heart. Not sure what to do about that guy. Oh, just follow your heart. Your heart will show you the way. Even the Bible says the heart is deceitful. Says the heart is wicked. Says the heart cannot be trusted. We should not be following our hearts, especially if you can be honest and say, hey, yeah, maybe I do have some things from my past that have me messed up a little bit, or a little bit jaded, or, not really seeing and thinking clearly. If you can identify, maybe I do still have some healing to do. Maybe I'm not as trusting as I thought. Maybe I'm not ready for a happy, healthy, holy relationship, right? All of those things need to be taken into consideration. Faith-based dating also means alignment with God's vision for marriage. I will speak on this until the cows come home. But when it comes to marriage, God is the creator of marriage. God owns the copyright to marriage. He created it, and he said this is how it is going to be done. In his word, we get clear pictures of what marriage looks like, what it entails, how the husbands are supposed to be, how the wives are supposed to be. We see roles, we see character, we see all of these different things, meaning that God has what? A clear vision for marriage. And at the end of the day, faith-based dating means you are in alignment with what God is saying as far as marriage is concerned. And you are also able to see in this season, when you look at all the scriptures where God talks about a husband, you are able to detect when it comes to men that you might come across, is this man already showing the characteristics of what God is giving instructions for husbands to do? Okay? Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Maybe you're not yet at a point where you can trust in yourself when it comes to making decisions with men and dating. I get that. A lot of my clients who end up coming to me for coaching, whether it's in private coaching or in New Heart Academy, they're like, hey, I don't trust myself. Or, hey, I keep making bad decisions. I need guidance. I need help. I need accountability. I need to figure out what is going on and why I keep repeating some of these things. And it's a matter of trusting in God and using wisdom. And sometimes, no, it means not trusting in yourself. So it is time for you to it is time for you to break the cycle if you know that you are someone who has been doing a little bit of dating with fear. You already know I talk about self-awareness a lot, right? Because that is where it starts. Because what self-awareness means, you are going to be able to recognize any of those fear-based patterns that might currently be present in your life. Even in New Heart Academy, I have courses on tapping into you, getting clear on who you are so that you can actually become a match for your ideal guy. And all of this goes even deeper. Like, these courses go super deep when it comes to self-awareness and recognition. Self-awareness means you are aware of who you are. You know your fears, you know your triggers, you know your desires, you know your strengths, you know your weaknesses, you know what it is that you actually bring to a relationship, all of those things. Self-concept, right? All about developing the confidence to become the best version of yourself, free of fear 100%. Self-awareness is how you first start by actually breaking the cycle. Secondly, it's all about healing. Healing, healing, healing. Yes, I will shout that from the mountaintops as well. Heal from any wounds that you might have from rejection, from abandonment. Maybe there's some insecurities that need to be addressed. Maybe you have a father you need to forgive. Maybe you have a mother you need to forgive. What do you need healing from in this season of your life? What is it that you need to heal from that's actually interfering with you dating better and actually doing better when it comes to picking men and being able to easily discern the motives behind some of these men who are hopping in your inbox. Step 3, when it comes to breaking the cycle, preparation. Because once it's like, okay, self-aware, okay, now I've done my healing. Now let me actually prepare for what it is I'm wanting. Let me prepare for what it is I'm praying for. This is where you say, okay, you know what, I want to do things differently, so I got to set new standards. I need to start building some boundaries. I need to know my vision, know my worth, all of these things. That is what preparation looks like. And that is those 3 things really all together. Those are going to be the key to you putting an end to dating with fear so that you can start dating with faith. It's time to switch the way that you do things so that you can get to where it is that you want and need to be. If we're going to be honest, and y'all know I love my community and I love what it is that I do, but I've had some women who have been kind of stuck in the same place for years now. Each year it's saying, this is going to be my year. And it's easy to say, this is going to be my year to meet my person. This is going to be my year to get married. This is going to be the year I start dating. None of those things matter if you still have fear. None of those things matter if you still have insecurities. None of those things matter if you still have pain from the past. None of those things matter if you still have unresolved wounds. None of those things matter if you don't know your triggers. None of those things matter if you don't actually know your attachment style. You can declare things all you want, but when are you going to really start preparing for what it is you want? I often work with women who are like even so much like older than me, right? And it's because they're finally like, you know what? I've wasted too much time putting this off, putting off healing, putting off, like even recognizing the cycles that I've been engaging in. I've had women who it's like, you know what? I've been following you for years. I've been watching your videos or I see your posts and I'm finally ready to do something about it. And while of course, yeah, that always makes my heart happy because I'm like, okay, welcome. Like I'm happy to work with you. But of course it's still like, wow, can you imagine just sitting there for years and not taking the extra step and actually doing what you should have done that could have had you so much further along? I want to see you doing whatever is necessary for you to finally get further along. No excuses. No excuses at all. It's time to start doing things for real, okay? It is time for you to really start healing and breaking free from the past because that is what every single time, that's always what my ladies, that is always what has them bound. It is their past. It's always something from their past that has had them stuck in repeating the cycles. Even one of the courses in New Heart Academy, Heart Matters, it's all about healing the wounds, breaking the cycles, facing the past, all of those different things. And then, of course, they love eventually when we can get to course 5, all about writing the vision, because then you're going to get that clarity and strategy when it comes to love. All of these things are going to help you when it comes to shifting from being fear-led to faith-led in your dating life, okay? Fear-led dating will always lead to pain, always, every single time. But faith-led dating will position you for kingdom love. When you date by faith, that's when you can find yourself in something that's beautiful, something that's truly beautiful, something that you don't just have to fake it for the outsiders, for your family, friends, and social media. Something that's going to be beautiful for real. Something that's actually going to be pure and people are actually able to see the love of God. They get a glimpse of God even by looking at your relationship and your connection. So if you know that fear has been guiding your choices, this is your moment to reset. And what I want to do for the next few moments, I'm going to give you a couple of reflection questions that I want you to take your time and really reflect on, maybe even journal so that you can get some deeper clarity and maybe even ponder over these things over the weekend so that you can really get serious when it comes to you making some shifts in this season of your life. Question number 1. Which fear has had the biggest influence on your dating life? Fear of being alone, fear of rejection, or fear of time running out? Which one has had the biggest influence when it comes to your dating life? Fear of being alone, fear of rejection, or fear of time running out? Second question, what would dating with faith look like for you in this season? Can you truly say that you've been dating with faith? Chances are the question is no. So in that case, what would dating with faith look like for you in this season? Maybe for you it's saying like, hey, I'm going to keep on trusting God's timing. Or you're saying maybe I'm going to actually keep my boundaries this time and trust that I don't have to, get rid of them, knowing that God is going to meet me and provide exactly what it is that I'm needing and truly wanting without sacrificing. Maybe for you, it's going to say, I'm going to actually get intentional. I'm not going to just sit here and wait for God to send him and just wait for God to heal my heart and I'm not going to do anything. Maybe for you, it's saying, I'm going to get intentional in this season. That is actually how I met my guy, which I was not doing the whole, I'm just going to wait on God. But for me, it was like, you know what? I actually am ready to date. And I wanted to make sure that I was good to go. I took myself through all the things first, right? I wanted to make sure that I was healed, self-awareness, all of those things. Took the time to actually build out my vision, the things that were important to me to have, that I wanted in a relationship, the things that I wanted in a man, knowing my strengths, weaknesses, how to communicate all of those different things. And from there, it was like, okay, I'm going to be intentional. And online dating has always been my own personal choice. I was like, I'm going to set up a profile and we're just going to let that be that. And that is how I met him, but all because I finally decided that I was going to be intentional. Okay? So, what would dating with faith look like for you in this season? Last question. What cycle do you feel most ready to break so that you can position yourself for real love? What cycle do you feel most ready to break so you can position yourself for real love? Maybe for you, you're saying, I'm going to break the cycle of dating unavailable men. I'm going to break the cycle of, just waiting on God. I don't know. What cycle are you ready to break so that you truly can position yourself? Inside New Heart Academy, like I said, we start with healing, then we move into clarity and vision so that you're not just dating with hope, you are dating with strategy. If you are saying like, hey, I'm ready to get intentional, I'm ready to take the necessary steps, if you need that personal support, that is exactly what I offer in Breakout, the private coaching, 6 months, deep dive into healing and preparation for the love that you've been praying for, available only to a limited amount of women at a time since there's weekly coaching sessions. But maybe New Heart Academy is going to be a great start for you. 12 powerful master classes, having group coaching sessions with other women who are also in the trenches with you so that you can all motivate and encourage each other and have that support. You can give and glean at the same time. Maybe that works. I don't know. Send me a message and we can actually decide what is a good fit for you. Either way, I just don't want you to let fear drive another year of your love life. It is time for you to decide you are going to let faith and wisdom guide you because it is your time, all right? Let's go because you're going to win, right? You're going to win at love. You're going to win at kingdom love. That is what it's all about. #we will win. Be blessed, take care, and have a great weekend. Bye.